Come on.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the only podcast produced by three two-time winners of IMSA Spirit of the Race Award. This is the Check Engine Podcast. We are hosted on Spotify, and we are streamed worldwide on all of your favorite podcasting platforms. For the first time in quite a while, Nick, Andrew, and Tristan are here. What's going on, fellas? Good to hear from you again.
Yeah, what's it been, like 3 weeks, something like that? I don't know. That last episode was so good. I personally was living in fear of living up to that episode.
We had to
good.
We just had to sit back and let it breathe for a minute. We couldn't follow it up with another one right away.
Yeah, you gotta sit back and enjoy the work you've done every once in a while, you know?
The work that we did. I mean,
yeah, that was
let's be honest.
The work that Kyle Downs did.
Yeah, exactly. We did nothing.
I mean, we asked him to come on. That was hard, right?
Yeah, that's true.
It really wasn't. I texted him and he said,
Nick.
okay.
He was just fabulous. He was great. I loved it.
He was he texted me right after the episode came out. He must have jumped in to listen right away, to listen back to himself. And he's like, man, I didn't do a really good job answering your questions. And I'm like, no, you gave us so much insight. Like you opened the door so wide for people to understand what all goes on.
I think you did great. I think
that's a situation that's more us asking the wrong questions because he knew what we wanted to know.
Yeah, it's actually a really good point. I think that's probably one of the most exciting parts of interviewing, right? You can workshop the question as much as you want. They're still going to answer it however they see fit, and that's what's good about it. You know what I mean? I mean, I can't think of a question we asked that he didn't actually answer, but how he answered it is what makes it worthwhile.
Yes.
So if you haven't listened to that episode, absolutely. If you have listened to that episode, go listen to it again, because that is the best content we've made in years.
If you haven't listened to it yet, stop listening to this one right now and go back an episode.
Right.
We must go.
I think it's awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, it was a good time. Thanks again, Kyle. We don't have anyone to interview tonight, so we're just going to talk amongst ourselves. But we can probably come up with some good topics, right, guys? Like I think so. we can figure it out.
There was something I was going to bring, but I realized that I need feedback in order to bring it as aggressively as I want to. So we'll do that. We'll go through that.
Are we going to do the feedback on air, or is this something we're just going to talk? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we need to work through the context. We need to work through the parameters of what I'm actually saying. I'm going to make a statement.
A little sneak peek of things to come.
Do we want to solicit feedback from the listeners on this? Is this something they can participate in?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. You'll see. Yeah. You'll see. We talk about it. I, for the first time in a while, saw some neat cars running around.
Did you?
I saw an Alpha 4C.
Ooh, those are rare.
It is rare. It actually sounds amazing. I never heard one before. Never seen one on the road before. Looks really stupid on the road. Sounds amazing on the road. And so I was on a walk. Actually, I was walking kind of up a little bit of a hill that kind of has like a steeper part at the end of it. So car goes up the hill, and there's like a left turn sort of halfway up the hill. And as it made the left turn, it's a weird thing to say, but as it made the left turn, so I went from like a pure rear view to a side view, I was like, oh, it looks like it's falling apart. Like for no particular reason, just like, oh,
aspect change and
very weird. I also saw an A8L, which wouldn't be that special, except it was a W12.
The good one.
Yes.
which is crazy. I was like, oh shit, that's some serious hardware.
That's awesome. Was the Alpha, just jumping back to the Alpha, the one thing I remember about that when it first came out was how incredibly wide the car is. Could you notice that when you saw it? Like, was it
And
wider than the
how
lane?
far the seats are inboard of the door sill.
That I do remember from the
auto show, yeah.
So the 4C I had never seen on the road before, and it's a 2-seater mid-engine, rear engine, mid-engine.
Yes,
I'm fairly certain.
In the rear half.
Yeah, behind the seats somewhere.
Yeah. Little sports car with a, as Tristan said, probably between 8 and 10 inches from the inside edge of the door to the outside edge of the seat, just like a massive space there. But no, to my surprise, I mean, it was on regular roads, so next to what have you, right? The Ford Explorer, Toyota Camry, whatever was on the road. It looked quite small in that environment.
Interesting.
I wouldn't call the cars that I had seen cool, but I have noticed a rash, Nick. I don't know if you have noticed the same anywhere around, your work or anything. Of I feel like Jeep has finally started producing and selling the 4xe vehicles, Wranglers, Grand Cherokees, etc. Because I have seen them everywhere, and
So
I've almost gotten murdered by two of them
on the motorcycle.
No, in parking lots, because they don't have a Hyundai / Toyota / whatever Choir of Angels hybrid electric motor noise. They just kind of whir along silently, and I was very nearly murdered. By one of them had to honk at me. Like,
Is
listen,
that not mandatory?
I thought it was, but I don't know.
Thing?
But it's like, listen, I'm the pedestrian. It's your job not to hit me. I can't hear you, and I'm not looking your direction because I already looked left one time. I'm looking right, and then from the left comes a 4xe at exactly under the number of miles an hour that they can go full electric, totally silently. And I was just like, come on.
So you were like, was that a work parking lot, or?
Two separate work parking lots. A Walmart parking lot that I wasn't hit in, or nearly hit in the work ones. Was almost hit in the Walmart parking lot. And
I was gonna say, if you were actually hit, we probably would have heard about it.
Yeah, no, that would have been mentioned. And but I've seen them in the two separate work parking lots, the Walmart parking lot, like the Target parking lot, and then I saw them, like 5 of them driving around Chicago, in like a 4-block walk. Like, I know there's a lot of cars going by, but it's like it's like Grand Theft Auto. Like, I see one, and now they're the only thing that's out on the road today. It's
that
weird.
is a real thing.
Yeah.
Ooh, I also saw the Dodge Hornet.
I'm sorry.
Hey, it's just it's heinous. And it isn't that horrible. My dad, for my whole life, ever since I was a small child, my dad called this color calf shit yellow, and and it's just that. I have no other. It's not mustard. It's not brown. It's not beige. It's calf shit yellow, and it looks awful. Never buy this. They paid at least. I'm looking at the website because I had to know. Whoever bought that paid at least $30,000 for that.
What? Those are 30 grand for a Hornet?
They start at 30,7.
Oh my god.
But they have 288 horsepower in the RT.
Well, what's the RT cost? Let's find out.
I don't know. In the GT has 268.
The
0
RT
to 60.
starts at Tristan. The RT starts at 40. It starts at 49.
40,9?
40,9.
Dear Lord. That's got to be a supply and demand thing. There's no way on God's green earth that car is worth that much.
And the calf shit is $600. That you pay $600 to have a calf shit on your car.
Oh,
Bro.
come on.
Anyways, that's horrible. Hate that. Don't want to see that anymore.
I'm surprised they're hitting the roads that fast. Didn't we just see the launch commercial for that? Or am I?
But it's been a
Like the
while now,
Super
I think.
Bowl, right?
Oh, it was the
And you
Super
know what? It
Bowl?
was. And we're already in week 4 of the new season.
Yep.
Shout to every Bears fan.
I mean, that's the thing is you can't disappoint us. So
They're trying.
it doesn't matter as much as, for example, the Packers' performance last night. That crushed Packers fans because they can be disappointed. We're no longer capable of that. So
Oh, Andrew, the watching Packer fans in Wisconsin right now just lose their shit over a team
Is it
that's
crazy?
kind of mediocre is like the funniest thing because the rest of us walking around like one of my good
our
friends.
team is 500. The sky is falling.
Oh my god, it's just that like and like one of my good friends at work is originally from Michigan, so he's a Lions fan. He's pretty happy. But we were talking, me as a Charger fan, like we've only won one more game than the Bears have at this point.
Yeah.
and
Packers.
and we were talking today, and we're like, isn't this just crazy? It's like, welcome to the rest of the NFL fan base. Like this is what everyone goes through every year, except for Packers fans.
I promise we'll get off football soon. But although I don't want to, what shocked me was LaFleur's post-game interview.
We just change this episode to be a one-time only special. We're going to call it the Check Down podcast, and because we look at our first options and we didn't like them, so we're checking down. We're checking down to football.
We're just going to have that as a second podcast. No, I've never seen Matt LaFleur mad.
He was mad.
A reporter asked a totally normal question, like, "What did you think of the line play or something like that?" Because it was truly shocking. And he got mad. He's like, "That's a bullshit question." It's like, it's actually not. It's a really, really good question.
Really regular question apropos to this game.
Where your line played god awful.
I mean, it's been interesting season. Chargers have been interesting.
There was a stat so the first 2 games, and this is what's added onto the list of like the most Chargers things ever.
I love those because I can almost always relate to them.
So the first 2 games, they scored 58 points combined, had 0 turnovers, and were 0-2.
Yes.
They were the only team in history to score that many points without turnovers and lose both of the games.
Truly snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
Yep, that's what we do.
Good times. Anyway,
car stuff.
Car stuff. Yes. Does anyone have any other interesting cars?
Well, I have an incredibly, I don't know, interesting, you could call it, last few weeks of car troubles.
We have at least the saga of new car purchase at least. Is there anything else?
I forgot. Oh, wow, please.
So yeah, this is buckle up, folks. This is going to take a while. So Andrew, I know because I sent the picture of my wife's Sonata getting completely demolished, totaled on the right side of the vehicle. We still have not got the insurance check for that. It's been almost a month. So we have we've been window shopping, but we haven't gone car shopping because Allstate is terrible. I'm sorry, for the purposes of the story, we should try to protect their name. So just for the purposes of the story, let's call them Allstate. They're god awful. And as soon as we get this settled and get the check and we can go get our replacement vehicle, we are going to be shopping around for new insurance. But so Claire, thank goodness, she's 100% good. The baby is still 100% good, but my wife was T-boned on the passenger side of her vehicle. So her car was totaled. 1 week to the day after that happened, I got rear-ended in the Focus on the way to work.
No.
Yeah, it was.
What?
What?
It was in a traffic jam, like right in front of. I'm still going to call it Miller Park on the way into downtown Milwaukee. Whatever that stadium's called now, where the Brewers play. And it was a traffic jam. So luckily, the person who hit me was doing about 2.5 or 3 miles an hour.
Just a
Um,
light nudge.
the only sign of damage were a couple of tiny creases from like the license plate bracket on the front of her car. So we pulled over, we looked, we're like, this isn't worth calling the police or anything. Like, she gave me her information. I went to a body shop. We got the bumper replaced. She paid for it. We're all good there. But it was like a week to the day after Claire's. Now I
So
get
just
hit.
so you just can't drive on those days anymore.
I
That day
can't
of the
drive
week,
on.
that day of the week, done. Stay at home.
Yeah. So then it's not done yet, guys. Like 4 days after that, I'm sitting at work and I get a text from Claire, who is now, because she still doesn't have a car, she's driving the 97 Blazer as her daily, which she hates with a passion. This thing smells. It doesn't steer right. I feel like there's no power steering in it. I'm like, there's power steering in it. Like, it has power steering. You would know if there's no power steering. But she hates it. But she's fighting through. 4 days after I get hit, I get a text with a picture of that with the left side mirror sheared off. Just the like Picard gif, head in hands.
Picard facepalm. Yes.
Yeah, like it was. Well, now what? This one was actually our fault. Like, Claire clipped a garbage can. So, but so I have a new rear view mirror, which apparently replacement mirrors for a 97 Blazer are super cheap.
That's like, who would have thought that would be the case? I wouldn't.
with like
Even buying Jeep parts at that age is inexpensive.
with the whole thing, the wiring for the power mirror and everything, I got it for like $38. it was actually quite surprising. So I have that in a box in the garage right now. Got to put that on hopefully this weekend. But yeah, I am just about done with driving for a while because I just don't trust anybody anymore. I never trusted a lot of people to begin with, but it's just on super heightened alert now. Like, everywhere I go, I'm just like, oh no, don't hit me. Oh no, don't hit Claire. Oh no.
So, tell me this: what BMW are you looking at to replace Claire's car?
I've been looking at used 3 and 4 series.
Is that true?
I've been looking around for everything. I've been looking. We've been Kia K5 GT line is very close to the top of the list. I've been looking at. It's weird. Like, for whatever reason, you can get better deals on cars in Illinois.
Until you pay
Aren't you-
taxes. Be
yeah, I was
careful.
gonna say, aren't you gonna pay crazy tax?
Like, my dad's looking for a Jeep for my sister, and it's like several $1,000s more to buy it at some dealer in Green Bay until you actually purchase it, in which case it's cheaper to buy it in Green Bay because the taxes in Illinois are just insane. So take that into account before you plan on buying anything.
And
Yeah.
don't forget road tax in
Everybody.
Wisconsin
Yeah,
as well.
and it might be the case with what you're buying stock wise or whatever. There's just more of them in Chicago. They're trying to get rid of them or whatever. But in general, be very careful with that. You will be presented with a very different number when you go to buy it.
Yeah, for sure. But we've been Kia K5 or Kia K5. I have been looking at, like, I mean, to get it in the price range where it's actually feasible. It's like the delicate balance of age and mileage that I'm trying to work on. But like Audi A4 or a BMW 3 or 4 series, that it's probably in like the 2016, 2017 with 40-ish thousand miles is kind of in the window. So I've been looking at a lot of different things, but it's just window shopping at this point. So once we get the actual check in hand, which hopefully can come any day now. Like, it's been almost a month at this point. It's just been ridiculous. Just fighting us every step of the way. Dude, so Andrew, we went to start like the claim process, right? And they're like, so we can't do anything until you give us the name, address, and birth date of the person who hit you. And we're like,
Okay.
well, the police keep that information and don't really give it to us, like by law.
Sure.
But here's this accident report number that you can go to the police office, or call the office or email this email address or whatever. Call this number, and they can get you the full accident report with all of the information. And they're like, we've never heard of that. We don't do that. It's like, it says Allstate on the door. I'm sorry, is this an insurance company? Like, what are we paying you for? Like, so it's just literally every step of the way it's been.
I'm going to manage to buy a house in less time than it's going to take you to get an insurance check.
Yes.
Probably.
For an accident that 100% was not her fault, based on the police, eyewitnesses, the other person herself said, yep, my fault. I hit her. Like, it's like case closed, open and shut. Just give us the money.
Jeez.
And it's just been every step of the way, just absolutely dragging it out. So when that day finally comes where we see something hit our bank account, then we'll like legit like start going to dealerships and stuff. So right now it's just been like online scrolling. Do you like this? Do you like that? Well, I this versus that, and just kind of trying to force rank,
Yeah.
But it's been an absolute nightmare working with the insurance company. Like, it's like extortion, man. It's like legal extortion. Like, we're forced to pay in, and then they have every right to like try to bone us whenever we actually need them to do their job.
Of course, and you know what? This actually makes me think of something we were talking about at work today. Which we've talked about in this podcast, but it just reaffirms, for example, in your specific accident, Nick. I mean, imagine now at that point you were driving an EV where that accident you took could total the car. Because if it's, apparently for most insurance companies, if there's anything that appears to be, which again, we've talked about this before, if anything that appears to be damaged to anything involving a battery, they total the car.
Right.
It's just so shockingly unsustainable. There's some other thing I read. I don't even remember where I read it. Talking about how this guy bought himself a Tesla, and it's like, oh, I can't believe anyone would drive an ICE engine. It's like, have you been anywhere that's not LA? What could you be talking about? It's just so shocking to me. As we slowly inch down the road of picking the wrong technology, even in the short term, it becomes more and more ridiculous. Now, especially talking to my brother who lives in California, he lives in an area that has fires and can no longer get insurance because insurance companies no longer provide fire insurance in most of California because they actually have to pay it out.
Yeah,
and because there's fires all the fucking time.
Yeah, and they won't. Either they won't insure or they will make you pay an immense amount more per year if you store your EV in the garage.
I mean, that makes it makes all the sense in the world. It's like, are you really thinking about it though? Are you really thinking about it?
It was funny in our home buying process. Our insurance agent that we were talking to, like, pulled up the wrong like packet that he was working on. He was working with somebody else, and he's like, "Oh, you guys are in California," and I was like, "No," and he goes, "Oh, thank God," because I don't even know if I would be able to sell you insurance in California.
That's great.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that because that literally happened like a week ago. I was like, oh, thank God.
That's just so great. I love that. I mean,
it's interesting.
Sad,
speaking about like vehicle insurance, Nick, like what you said, like you're required to have it. We were talking about like state minimums for
Hmm.
insurance when you
Yeah.
purchase it. And it's like, and the state minimums are wild. Like, they basically don't let you take any risk yourself. It's like, your liability insurance is like $500,000, like as the bare minimum just to drive a car, and it's like, yikes.
And
And
you
then
have to,
on top of that, they're like, you should, if you got a house, you should also probably get an umbrella liability policy that'll cover you even more. It's like $2 million. It's like, wow. I can't imagine, like, I've been in car accidents before, and I've gotten paid out for being in car accidents before from other people's insurance. Like, I can't fathom how bad it would have to be to need that much liability.
it's
That's
death.
like
That's what it is.
right,
Yeah.
I know, but it's
Yeah.
like, if I look at my entire, production value over the course of my life, I don't think I would come close to $2 million. But
Yeah, it's
it's
been,
weird. It was weird rebuying car insurance again for the first time. Again for
well,
the first time.
right. You have to get so much, which means you have to pay a certain amount for you to get that much, should you need it, and the off chance that you need it. But then when that off chance actually happens, they're like, well, we can fight tooth and nail for every fucking penny we give back to you.
That's just awful.
It's like, well, then why don't we, just set up another account? Like, like some places, most places now, I think have like health savings accounts, right? Where it like takes a little
HSAs,
bit
yeah.
out of your paycheck. How about like a personal property and liability savings account? And you like, why do we even need the insurance companies if they're just going to do this?
Got to have middle managers, man.
I will
Yeah,
say
and those BMWs.
I have not had that issue. I would say, out of all of the various issues my family has had with insurance, and believe me, we have had issues. Um, just ask my dad about his roof. Um, the What we have not had an issue with is them going, "Yep, that checks out. Here's your check." Like, that's, every accident I've been in, even though there are issues with the roof, it's how much we paid for the premium, not how fast they were in giving us the check to redo it when it got hail damage, like that kind of thing. That's a weird thing to me that I've been lucky to never experience. I feel like some people have, or a lot of people have that. I think it's a fairly common complaint is like, oh, my insurance company is trying to screw me, and I've had two of them, fed Geico and State Farm, and it hasn't been an issue either time. So maybe I'm just lucky.
Speaking of your dad, did he um, send you the pictures of the Lamborghini at the parts store?
Yes, so he's been sending those to my email address as an SMS message because he has my default contact in iMessage is my email address. So, and then you respond, but your phone never sees that. So he sends it to all three of us. I
Oh, so you're
don't,
on this group
yeah,
chat
But
with.
I also don't
don't
see it.
I don't see it in my email. It's in there, but I don't see it in my email because it doesn't come through to you guys as like, hey, he's part of the group chat for this, and then you respond to just Andrew and my dad. But
Oh,
he caught me up on the thread. I did see what you're talking about.
But I also don't see you in this
Right,
thread
exactly,
on
because it
iPhone.
doesn't, because SMS doesn't know how to parse
Oh, I got
group
you.
messages where one of the participants has an email address.
Involving the at. I got
Yes.
All right.
well, anyway, this isn't about the group chat itself, but Tristan's dad apparently has a group chat with all of us. I only see me and Andrew in it. But there's a blue Lamborghini at the auto parts store that he saw, and I thought this exchange was hilarious because he sends us a picture of the Lamborghini, and then his next message was, "That blue is not common." Like, right, the blue isn't common, but the Lamborghinis are everywhere. They're like fucking gnats. Like, it's the blue that's the thing here.
Well, I mean, by comparison,
No, by comparison, the car is still more rare. Blue cars are everywhere.
But that blue on that Lamborghini.
It's probably on. Listen, it's probably on an Atlas or something.
Is
That
it?
that that
But is it on as many Lamborghinis as there are Lamborghinis? No. So the blue is rarer than the blue on that Lamborghini is rarer than the Lamborghini. It's just math, you guys.
Well, yeah, you can say that about any color in any car. Like the white on the Hyundai Sonata is rarer than the Hyundai Sonata
What
because
was
they
it? That
make
was
it
a
in more than
Gallardo,
one
right?
color.
That was a blue Gallardo.
It was a blue Gallardo, yes, a 2003 Gallardo, and it is a very striking blue color. I've also seen a similar shade on an Atlas, actually, on any of the A spec Acuras now have it.
Yeah,
Um, the Hyundai GT line, N line, not the N, but the N line. I've seen that color on.
you got dark blue. Yeah,
I just thought it was hilarious. Where like his first message after the picture was that blue is not common.
I
It
guess
was funny
blue,
too.
maybe blue Calum. It doesn't seem like the right color.
It's funny too. The context for that is that was an old guy at the parts store trying to buy a bunch of parts for a bunch of like old like luxury and exotic and sports cars and stuff. Like he took the Lambo to the garage because he had to get parts for the 80s 911 he was working on, like that kind of thing. Like
Oh, must be
he's like
nice.
I need a drain plug, and apparently he was giving the parts guy the real runaround. Like he had the old one. And it's like I need this. Well, no, it doesn't fit. It's not the same size. Go get this one. Apparently, so
Giving him the business.
yeah.
Giving him the business.
Blue Calum seems to be the name of that paint. Whatever.
Yeah, I just thought that was a funny exchange from
It is
from
a
your
funny exchange.
from your dad. I appreciate the messages he sends us good stuff. But yeah, the blue.
I didn't
Yeah,
start
that's
seeing it until now, so now I will.
Tell him to make sure your name. It is weird. I never made the connection between him actually adding you to the text, and I just assumed he did that separately, and then later thought of us.
Nope, he sends it to all three of us in big quotes. So we've got it figured out. That will not continue. Um, it was funny. I was in Austin last week for a conference, and
South by
that's
Southwest.
no, but yes, it is there. I was there for the weirdly named JNUC Jamf Nation User Conference.
J
It's
Nook.
the MDM that I use at work. Very horribly nerdy conference. But it's always a good time. And it was interesting seeing literal trains of Tesla parts going through town because Gigafactory Texas is near Austin.
Right. I drove
And
past that facility when it was still being built, actually.
yet how few Teslas there are in Austin, considering Austin's general demeanor. Like there were a ton of Mach-E's, a bunch of IDs, a bunch of other electric cars, and it was like a fairly even mix between those electric cars and the Teslas. Which you'd think in the home of one of their factories there'd be a lot more of them. So I was kind of wondering what that was about. Um, Someone was saying that there was a Cybertruck driving around. I never got to see it, but a few of the other conference goers had pictures of it um, driving around. It was one of those ones that's on the news or the media in the silly wraps where it's like we're
Oh,
going to hide it so it looks like a tundra. No, you're not. No, you're not. That's not what that looks like.
Is it
not at
still
all.
just as ugly as it ever has been?
Yes, the live pictures that I have seen of people who took it just that day on the way to lunch or whatever are just as bad as it looks in the media.
I mean,
So
even when I was on Twitter, I had Cybertruck blacklisted because I didn't want to see that shit.
I don't want to see that.
No, it was blacklisted as a term back when Twitter had features.
Yeah, you'd filter things.
Yeah, you could filter things out. So I just don't show me anything that has the word Cybertruck in it. Worked like a dream.
So
That could have been old Uncle Elon himself. He lives outside of Austin, doesn't he?
Oh.
Who knows?
He's probably got like 9 houses, so it doesn't matter.
He wears cowboy hats backwards. We found that out today.
Of course he does.
Entirely non-car related post, but there was something I saw a picture of him wearing it definitely backwards.
Do you think
So
he knew?
I don't know. I don't think he did. I don't think he did. Not a lot of cowboy hats in South Africa, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, there might be actually.
They got
We don't know.
different, cooler hats. I don't know.
That's fair.
But but yeah, so it was interesting seeing literal tons of train load of Tesla parts rolling in and not seeing any of them driving around Austin beyond like what you would normally expect in a city. I feel like I see more of them when I go to the office in Chicago. Like
Sure.
there's more of them there, which was a strange experience. Wondered if, anybody could explain that to us. Not you guys, but if we happen to have any listeners in Austin, is there like has the tax credit run out in Texas, or what's the deal there? Why are there no Teslas in Austin, even though they're made there?
Texas is quite large to go from one city to another, and it's also quite hot.
Yes, I found that out too. Being there, vaguely car related. One of the best gas stations in the world, second to most every Quick Trip, is Buc-ee's.
Oh,
And
dude, they're bringing it to Wisconsin. They're going.
Yes.
They're filing a permit.
Yep, there's going to be one built outside of Madison.
Yes.
You've never been to a Buc-ee's, Andrew?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, that's like a religious experience. You have to go to a Buc-ee's.
It is voted the world's best bathrooms.
Mhm.
It has like 100 gas pumps, a wall of jerky, bakery case, pulled pork and chopped brisket on the board every 20 minutes. It's the experience. And I love stopping at them when we go down to my sister's because Georgia has like 2 of them. So I was like, oh, but they're from Texas. I'll go to Buc-ee's. The closest Buc-ee's was almost 2 hours from Austin. I was like, right.
Nice. Buc-ee's. Yeah, no, I've never heard of them.
Oh, dude, it's like a fucking Costco with 100 gas pumps outside.
BUC-EE. Yeah. Buc-ee's.
My Buc-ee. I've really seen the. I have driven through Texas, so I've seen these, and I didn't trust it.
You should trust it. Trust the Beaver.
And episode title. Timestamp that. There's your episode
Trust
title.
the Beaver.
For sure.
And I mean, so we're vaguely on a territory of car-related gas station things. Nick and I, we still have access to Quick Trips. We've mentioned our love for them before. Are there any that we're missing? I feel like, there's the competing Quick Trip with a Q, a Quick Trip. I don't know.
Those are not as good at all.
No, they're not even close.
Sheets. Thoughts on Sheets?
Never heard of it.
I've heard of them. I don't know if I've been to one. I think I've been to one.
I must drive to the south too often.
I would agree.
Casey's General Store isn't bad.
They're not
Casey's
bad.
is okay.
Parker's. I raise you Parker's, which again, southern thing. I don't know if anybody would have been there. They have spicy chicken tender sandwiches that are like better than a restaurant. I go out of my way to go to the fancy Parker's in downtown Savannah and get me a sandwich. Literally, that's what they're Google Fancy Parker's.
It is not. Oh, wait. The name of the place is Fancy Parker's.
The name of the place is Parker's.
But they have fancy locations?
One in Savannah is named Fancy Parker's.
Fancy Parker's Savannah. Parker's Market and Urban Gourmet.
Yep.
Shut up, Urban Gourmet.
We'll watch my sister on a ghost tour, and on our way back to her house, we'll stop at Fancy Parker's and we all get food.
This popular convenience store, nestled in a stylish 1899 Mediterranean-style building, offers an amazing variety of freshly prepared food options.
Wait, is this still a gas station?
Yes, you can purchase gasoline and
How dare you, sir? It's an urban
in
gourmet.
front of it.
Well, the way Andrew was reading it, I'm like, wait, I thought we were talking about rest stops and
It's an
gas stations.
urban gourmet with gas dispensers in the front.
Look at all the salad bar stuff you can sneeze on.
So Parker, Sheets, Loves has dog parks, so that's cool.
Yeah,
I didn't up to the word dog. I didn't know where you were going. Well, after the word dog.
Has dog. What next?
The brain jump to.
Food. Dog. Loves has dog food. No, dog parks.
Bucky's has dog food.
RV hookups.
Yeah, that's right. Wait, what are we just rating gas stations now?
Yeah.
Impromptu.
66 is pretty low, I will say that. Most BPs are pretty bad. I would put Mobile at the bottom of gas stations.
Which is interesting.
There is the Sunrise Mobile up here in Delafield, which is really awesome. Actually,
any Chevron I've been to is Garbo.
Marathon.
Mm.
Are there
Speedway,
any Nebraska only gas stations that we don't have access to?
I don't think there are any. I'm just trying to think of what else is around.
Not necessarily only, just not in Wisconsin. Murphy's.
Hy-Vee, but that's Iowa based. They're not bad actually. Their gas stations make the fresh breakfast sandwiches. Those are really, really good.
All right, add that to my list.
Yeah, Hy-Vee is really nice.
Add nice gas stations to stop at.
Listeners, what's a cool local gas station or truck stop that we can't find nationwide that if we ever come to your area we need to stop at?
And one you would never go to.
Yeah,
that's
like
those are the ones that's really important.
Like someone out west, tell me what a Maverick is like. Have you ever been to one in Vegas, Nick?
No, I've been to Terrible's.
Yes. Yes, we saw the sign and didn't stop because we already had a full tank of gas.
Wait, what about 7-Eleven? Where are we ranking 7-Eleven? People build shrines to 7-Eleven.
Like a cult thing, I believe, because I've been to some not so bad 7-Elevens and I've been to some really bad 7-Elevens.
I've been to a lot of Japanese 7-Elevens.
I was just gonna say, I'll bet you. I remember
nice.
That. Yeah. The pumpkin sunken. I don't know. Sorry, I just opened their page and there's an Instagram picture of a tuner Mustang parked outside the 7-Eleven. So,
shortly after that, 8 pedestrians were run over.
Is this wrong? I don't want my gas station to be a lifestyle brand. I don't want that at all.
I absolutely do, if you couldn't tell. I will buy merch. I will make sure I stop there on my trips. I have a Buc-ee's mug somewhere.
You will love this 7-Eleven page. This bothers me. Why can't a thing just be a thing?
I'm on Team Andrew.
Need to know about Dominic Ciambroni, the shoe surgeon, custom 7-Eleven. Sell the gas.
I've heard of that guy.
Sell the gas. You have not heard of the shoe surgeon.
Yeah, he was on the Jeff Goldblum thing on Disney Plus, making custom shoes for Jeff.
I'm on Team Andrew here. Just put in some gas pumps, man. I don't plan on being here that long.
Exactly. I'm not
unless you have electric charging stations and someone's got to be there for 6 hours.
Listen, where at 2:30 in the morning, while your husband is nearly dying, are you going to get brisket sandwiches to eat? Because that's the question that my wife would ask.
My husband?
No, that's perspective, Nick. We're talking from my wife's perspective.
Wait, why were you dying at 2:30? Were you dying for brisket?
No, we were driving home after I got COVID after the cruise. I was passed out in the passenger seat trying to stay alive, and she was driving, and we stopped for food at a Buc-ee's. And it was way better than a Hostess cupcake. I got a fresh made brisket sandwich at 2 in the morning. It was awesome.
I don't want a fresh made brisket sandwich at 2 in the morning. I want to get home to a bed and sleep.
Yeah.
Knowing that that's not in the cards, wouldn't you rather have a brisket sandwich than not have one?
No, I just sleep in the car and get me closer to home.
I'd rather have tornado.
Roller bites,
Yeah.
soggy chicken logs.
There's a whole listen to me very carefully. There's a whole 7-Eleven store that includes jewelry. Okay? This is your fault. You did this.
Yeah, I did.
I did not do this. You did this. Also pet clothing. Oh my god. Why
Bucky's.
can't anything just be one? Why can't you just do?
Everybody's got to have merch. Why can't we just be a podcast? Why do we got to have merch?
I mean, all I'm saying is, I don't think we don't have chains. Okay, we don't have.
That's because Nick didn't choose to put one up on the store.
We also don't.
I don't think that was an option.
Oh, okay.
Like, oh my god, this is so nonsensical.
CEPswagshop.com, by the way.
And also, we would have merch, obviously, Tristan, because we're a media property. This is a thing. 7-Eleven's not a media property. They sell gas and get robbed. Okay?
Wouldn't you rather be robbed while wearing a custom pair of 7-Eleven shoes? Sorry.
Wouldn't you rather be
No,
robbed?
because they're going to take the shoes off your feet then.
Maybe then
That's
they won't.
true.
Maybe then they won't steal the cash out of the cash register. They'll be blinded and distracted by your dope kicks.
I think actually, I mean, this is super off topic. Not that it matters at this point.
Let's not go any further off topic. At least gas stations are somewhat adjacent to what we're doing
Okay,
here.
there's just one more.
Related.
There's just one more gas station we have to talk about, and it's AM PM, because we have to talk about Toomgis.
About what?
You guys know about Toomgis?
No.
I've never heard of that.
Oh boy, you better check this link in. Oh, it knows in Discord anymore.
Link in chat.
AM
AM
PM.
PM.
We're going to talk about Toomgis.
Oh my god.
This is Toomgis.
The
Cravenience Whisperer. Ultimate snack savant and the snack daddy. He thrives where the best snacks come with the most convenience. That's Cravenience.
You may click to discover him.
I don't want to discover any of his body.
His left arm is hot coffee.
Oh my! People actually wasted time on this webpage. Toomgis Truths, spelled Trooths. He graduated valedictorian of his college class.
There's a number. Hey, Andrew. He will chat internet snackspiracy theories with you.
Well, okay, maybe I'll text him sometime.
When in a pinch, he'll use his hair as a straw.
Yeah, because it's red vines. That's horrifying, by the way.
I don't want any of this.
Listen, I'm just trying to expose you to the wider world.
Motherfucker's got a cheeseburger for a nose.
Yeah. And a hot dog for a mustache, but also for fingers. So think about
Mustache fingers.
Ooh.
No, the hot dog is the upper lip. The mustard is the mustache. Get it right.
Okay, you're right. My apologies, Toomgis. You fucking nightmare demon.
Sell gas. I'm with Andrew.
Sell the gas. Sell the gas. What are we doing?
Oh man, we need to talk about something else.
I remember the urge. Back to Quick Trip. I remember the urge. All right. Enough of this. Enough of this.
I am still asking our listeners. Like, we've covered Midwest, Southeast, Texas, mostly. Anybody out west or, the Northeast or something? Are there any destination lifestyle brand gas stations from which you would purchase a hoodie or possibly a custom pair of sneakers? I would like to know.
Yeah, let us know.
That wasn't for you guys.
Yeah, I figured. I figured it wasn't. But yeah,
Hold
let
on.
us
So,
know. At Check Engine Podcast on Facebook. Are we on X anymore? I don't know.
yeah, no, it's there.
At Check Engine Pod. Okay, yeah, let us know.
Right, I use no one should be on Twitter. I made this very clear. No one should be on Twitter. Don't be on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, get off. What are you doing? You don't have to be there.
Right.
I'm giving you permission to leave.
At Check Engine Pods on the pod on Threads and Instagram.
Right, yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
There you go. So let's see. What else can we talk about? Oh, here's a surprise. Nick has some racing topic.
Hey.
So it since we last spoke, it's been confirmed that Max Verstappen is in fact human.
Yes.
The Singapore Grand Prix happened, and he didn't even sniff the podium. Like, my man wasn't close. I mean, he still finished like fifth or sixth, but like Red Bull was so far off that entire race or that entire weekend, and Ferrari comes home with the victory, which is incredibly rare. I think, Tristan, if the soundboard is working, I know we have a clip from our Ferrari insider that can tell us how the season is going.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
It was good in Singapore. Carlos Sainz got to win the first non-Red Bull.
Laughing too hard.
Because I love that he's shouting. Like, I just love that he's like so clearly shouting that.
That's the Italian passion.
Andrew. Yeah, I can attest. I'm sure you can too, Andrew.
But yeah, Carlos Sainz breaks the Red Bull streak, and then right after that, Max Verstappen goes out in Suzuka and starts a new streak and just makes everybody look silly.
I was just looking at the results because as I knew it was a big gap. 19 seconds to second place.
Wow.
Almost 19 seconds.
I didn't know the gap, actually.
Yeah. It's never close, unless they race in Singapore, apparently. But holy crap. Even qualifying. Did you see... So qualifying, like everyone was towards the front that wasn't named Max was toiling around like the mid to low 1 minute 29s. He goes out for his last lap and does like a 1:28.6. Like he was a second quicker than everybody in qualifying.
I'm just looking back through his times. At Hungary, he was 33 seconds ahead of second place. What is going on?
The margin of victory was 33 seconds?
33 and a half seconds.
I think it was like that at Monaco, too, which their laps there are...
yeah.
Like, their laps there are barely a minute. He was a half a lap ahead of second place.
It's just insanity. It has not kept my interest.
No, it has not.
It's just not interesting.
The only people who are interested in this are like the people who are like, okay, just how many in a row can he win? You know what I mean? Like, just like really, how far can he take this? Like the car has to have a mechanical failure at some point, right? Like he can't just keep doing this. But even
looking at Japan last weekend, I'm just looking at the timings between places, right? So Max was 19 seconds ahead of second place. 36 seconds ahead of third, 43 ahead of fourth, 49 ahead of fifth. You're just not in the... By the time you get to eighth place, it's 74 seconds behind the lead pace. It's just not the same thing.
74 seconds, and how many laps did they run? Did they run 74 laps? I don't think so. Like, did they say the race distance on there?
I don't know. Let's see here. F1 Suzuka. 18?
53 laps.
I was looking at the 53 laps. Oh my god.
So in 53, that's math. Second and a half per lap he was gapping. Like, what do you do with that?
5 people finished not on the lead lap.
I don't understand.
It's just not interesting. I just can't. No, you're not getting me with this.
No, I'm not trying to get you with this.
No, I mean, you being F1.
So it's just proof that F1 is just, I think now, just because of the explosion in popularity, which we've covered before, it's more of a social day out, like to go and be seen, than actually, like, you want to go to F1 because all the cool people go to F1. It's not because there's actually like any form of decent competition happening.
Yeah, that's what you want out of your sport.
It's analogous with like Fashion Week or whatever.
Yes!
Horse racing.
Yeah.
Horse racing.
Horse
Or
racing.
or like the Kentucky Derby, or the Cannes Film Festival or something like
Mint
that.
juleps are good though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. What else happened in motorsport? Let's see here. IndyCar season wrapped up because their off season's way too long. It's really stupid.
Big announcement, Nick. Right though?
There is a big announcement for next year's calendar, and I don't know how I feel about it. They announced the return of the Milwaukee Mile to the IndyCar schedule. And not only that, it's a double header. They're a race on Saturday and a race on Sunday on Labor Day weekend. I don't know, like, I get it for the history of the sport that IndyCar is always, or at least often, been at Milwaukee, and it's a big part of the track's history and that kind of thing. I just feel like the sport is in a place where they should try to go break in. Like, they still have no races in the Northeast. Like, go to Loudon. It's a Milwaukee-sized oval in New Hampshire. It's closer to New York and Boston. Like, try to hit you don't need to come and race 3 times in Wisconsin when, like, Road America will pack so many more people in. Like, you got it covered up here. Like, I would honestly...
That's going to be a nightmare. That track is about 20 feet from the main road that goes... one of the main roads that goes into downtown Milwaukee. That's going to be awful.
Well, I mean, they've done it before. It's the crowds are never that big. So,
yeah.
well, they used to be big in the early to mid '90s. They used to pack the place, but it also comes at the absence of Texas, which is a wild race to watch. Like, that one's almost like more like heart in your throat than Indianapolis. Like, Indianapolis is faster speed-wise, but Texas with the banking and everything, like, it's just wild to watch an IndyCar go around there. And they replaced Texas with Milwaukee. Like, I'm still debating whether or not I want tickets. I know I'm going to go to Road America.
Right.
That's a given. I don't know about Milwaukee. It's not going to be a sellout. I can probably walk up and get a ticket if I really do decide to go. So, I mean, it's great that we get the opportunity to see them 3 times within an hour of where we live. But as someone who's like just a fan of the sport, like, go branch off to other markets. Like, try to put a race together in the Northeast, or maybe another race in Canada, or one in Mexico, or something like that. Then we'll just keep, especially with Pato O'Ward as a really the most popular driver now. Also,
yeah, cool.
So I would just rather see that. Another thing on the IndyCar side, this podcast's favorite IndyCar driver ended up winning 3 of the last 4 races.
Yes.
To keep his seasons with at least 1 win is now up to 19 in a row. The guy is just, and a couple of them were just wild how he did it. Like, he won at Gateway, the oval there, by pitting 2 less times than everybody else.
Wow.
Think about that for a second. The rest of the field pitted 5 times. He pitted 3. And he won by 22 seconds.
I mean, those pit stops don't add an insignificant amount of time.
Right.
It's just like... And then he won the finale at Laguna Seca, which was a shit show, actually. But he got a drive-through penalty for avoidable contact, which was weird because someone hit him.
Well, it was avoidable, so.
I guess. So a drive-through penalty under green dropped him to the back of the pack, and yet he still out-strategized, he and his team, and won that one too. Like, it's to the point now where the broadcast is like, whoop, Dixon faced adversity. He's probably going to win now. Like, it's ridiculous. So 3 more in the bag for Scott. He is solely, like, by a decent margin now ahead of Mario Andretti. That's a name for career wins.
That is a name.
Jesus. So,
the man with the most insane trophy case room.
But his teammate, Alex Palou, won the championship, and in the midst of all that, also got he was fired by his management team. Did you guys hear about this? Yeah. So he was a part of this whole saga last year where Ganassi announced they re-signed him, and he's like, no, I never re-signed with Ganassi. I'm going to McLaren. And then there was this big lawsuit and battle and blah, blah, blah. And what the settlement was okay, he's going to race one more year for Ganassi in 2023. And then starting in 2024, he's going to race for McLaren. And like with 2 races to go this season, like there's 2 consecutive announcements or 3 consecutive announcements within like 3 hours of one another. Palou backs out of McLaren deal, stays with Ganassi on a new deal. Palou dropped by his management team. McLaren suing Alex Palou for in excess of $30 million.
Oh my God.
Yikes.
Like, he's just making so many people so angry because he doesn't like stick to a piece of paper that he signed. Like, but he's still probably the pound for pound the best driver in the sport right now. 2 championships in 3 years. And everybody wants his services and is going to throw money at him. So,
yeah, I mean, that's crazy. That's just crazy.
Yeah. So, yeah, IndyCar is all wrapped up for the year. Our karting championship has wrapped up. Congrats to my good friend and former guest of the show, one of the guests from the roundtable, Tristan, last year, Kevin Coleman, Tag Masters champion this year.
Congratulations.
So congrats to Kevin. Another guest from that, Brian Janty, had a solid top 10 in points. I came in hot in P21. We didn't have a lot of, like, the guys at the bottom didn't race full time, but we probably had like 32 guys race with us at least once this year.
There you go. Top 2/3.
Yeah, there you go. The crazy thing is I told my dad this. It's just with all like mechanical stuff, and there was a couple where I had to miss because I was sick, and like it was just one of those weird years. I'm like, I'm not the fastest guy here by any stretch. I'm not as fast as someone like Kevin, for instance. But every single week that I'm here, I am qualifying. So on sheer pace, somewhere between 8th and 14th out of 25, 26 guys. So hovering right around the top 10 in that window. And I am in the low 20s in points. Like, it's just so weird. It's so weird.
Just got to connect those dots.
Yeah.
That's right.
Put a weekend together, as they say.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, congrats to Kevin. Well-deserved champion. It was between him and 2 other guys, both of whom want to come on the show, actually. They were all within the those top 3. Like, any one of them could have won going into our last weekend. So really cool championship to be a part of there. NASCAR is still happening. I haven't watched, so whatever.
No. I think I don't know. I just don't think it's for me. I think that's what I have to determine at this point, right? I just don't think it's for me.
IMSA. Wild Indianapolis weekend. Both Pilot Challenge and the WeatherTech race on Sunday was the 2 hour 40 minute was insane. Just I mean, Michelin Pilot Challenge, you guys know, like just the best racing you're going to
Always.
find. And the Indy race was incredible at the end.
What do they do there for? They do 2 hour, 240.
They did a 4 hour into nighttime. So it was like finished. There's not many lights at Indianapolis because it's not designed for that yet. But they had like they brought in some temporary Muscos for along like the front stretch, and obviously those cars have headlights. So they finished. It was like a dusk race. So they started as the sun was setting, and they finished 4 hours later at night, and it was awesome. It was a wild finish between one of the AMGs, the Windward AMG, and one of the Porsches, like passing one another every other lap, every third or fourth corner. And especially at night, you can see them when they're like really trying to outbrake each other, and the discs are glowing like that bright orange, like they're just standing on them. Like,
I love that.
It was
so
just
cool. That was so cool at Sebring too.
It was like they're bouncing off one another's doors. But the thing of it is, like, unlike NASCAR at a road course, they don't just wreck each other. Like, they finished. They raced hard and aggressive, but they finished. And that's when I texted you guys, like, next year they already announced that the WeatherTech race there is going to be 6 hours, which is the same length as Watkins Glen. You two have neither of you have been to the Speedway before, and it is an easy road trip.
You have made this pitch, and I think it's a good idea. I think that's what we should do.
I think it would be a blast.
I think that'd be fun. Plus, end of September shouldn't be like dick blastingly hot.
Shouldn't be. This year is proving to be weird.
Shouldn't be. It might rain a lot.
Chances are
but
better.
Yes.
Yes, the chances improve the later you go as far as how dick blasted you're gonna get.
Exactly.
So, I think we need to, the idea of this podcast started on an IMSA road trip, so I think we need to start bringing that back.
Yeah, haven't had that in a while. Hopefully by then we'll all be a little more settled.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what I was going to say at the beginning of the episode.
Oh yeah, we've got a concept to run past us.
So here's what I was thinking the other day. It's I don't know if it's the road or just like the corn, but it's very dirty here. Like you drive your car, and it just gets filthy in like the span of a day.
Sure.
So I got my car washed recently. I was walking back to it in the parking lot at work, and I was like, God damn, that's a good looking car. That's a really good looking car. In fact, I would say that my current car, so that's the Hyundai Elantra N line, not the N, not the regular, the N line specifically, is the best looking compact sedan ever made. I was like, okay.
Ooh.
So what would that compare to right now? So non-hatchback, that would be Honda Civic. If they is it, yeah, Honda Civic,
Corolla,
the Nissan Sentra. And I was like, okay, that's all easy. Got that accomplished, no big deal. But if we try to go back in history, the problem is that compact doesn't mean remotely the same thing now as it did even 10 years ago. Like the size of the part of it for me is that the size of the car is important to the design specifically of the Elantra. It wouldn't look as good as it does if it was either smaller or bigger. And I think that's proven with the Sonata, right? They tried to take the same design principle, make it bigger. It just looks really bizarre.
I don't like it. Yeah.
So if we take it back to even like the early 2000s or the 90s or the 80s, trying to take this back through history, what am I actually talking about if I say compact car from the early 2000s or the 90s? Because then in my mind, size-wise, that's Honda Accord, that's Toyota Camry, that's that. But those cars are so much bigger now. You know what I mean? Like, what do I need to compare against?
Are you including American and other brands? Because right now we're just comparing Asian market.
Yeah, everything in the world, yeah.
Okay.
But no American manufacturers make cars now. Not a one.
Yeah, but you did say of all time.
Yeah,
So
I did.
right,
I mean,
like Neon
what?
SRT.
Yeah, a neon.
It's in the list. It's up for
In comparison,
consideration.
yeah, that's a good point. So, but that was called a compact, right? At the time,
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cavalier,
Cavalier,
Jetta
Jetta.
from the German side.
Yep. Ford Escort.
Oh, the Ford Escort. I'm gonna type some of these in a list here.
So the pitch is we're building a list of compact cars to compare against and decide what is the best one.
Correct.
And that's
maybe we have to do a tier list here. I don't know. We'll see.
And that's all through their design history. It's not like
correct. Mm-hmm.
So it's like we can't just say we can't just say like the early 90s Honda Civic was the best. Like it has to be from start to finish or start to modern day, like this is the best looking car.
Well, because this is obviously the best looking Elantra, but I think it's way more than that. I think it's the best looking specific model of all compact sedans throughout history. That's what I would say about the car.
So, like, for example, I'm just pulling numbers out of my head. I'm not actually making a judgment. Like, we could compare your model year, your trim level, Elantra to, like, specifically a 2001 Corolla or something. Like it's like not across the entire lifespan of the Corolla, just like here's this one that might go up against it.
So you pick whatever generation of these models and say I'll put this up against Andrew's Elantra.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Maybe we can figure out some way to do this King of the Hill style. You know what I mean? Put up a bunch of them. We'll start with mine at the top. We'll go through a list. Whatever knocks it off, that's the winner. Final knockoff is the winner. We can vote like a democracy.
Like a democracy. Yes, I like this. And even though we style ourselves as experts on all things automobiles, that's a joke. We do not.
We absolutely do not.
We know a lot, and we like a lot. But I think it's good that you brought this up, Andrew, in the show, so that we can ask our listeners to hopefully help us provide some models for consideration.
It's a lot of cars.
It's a lot of cars. It's a lot of cars, and I know that we're gonna miss some.
There's going to be a lot that'll be easily discarded, right? We know that we can just
like the neon.
Yeah. Fiero. Yes, listeners, help us dig through the shit and find some good ones.
Yeah, cool. That'll be fun.
So compact cars.
Compact sedans.
Yes, correct. Sedans.
4-door sedans. Compact. Of all time.
All time, but it doesn't have to be the entire run of design language on that car. You can just pick the best that you think, and does it look better than Andrew's current day Elantra?
Only had to get it right once to win this game. So
right,
exactly. One time.
It's like they do in action sports, like in X Games, right? You get like 3 or 4 runs down the slope, but it's not an average
number. Yeah,
take the best number.
Yep,
for sure.
I like that. We can call the episode X Games mode.
Oh, yeah.
We'll come up with a title. We'll
X Games mode.
It's a work in progress.
Working title: X Games mode.
The last thing I have, literally last thing I have. Would you guys like to see a lie about a McLaren-inspired guitar?
Yes. So
this on Car Scoops, who knows if that's reputable or not.
Car Scoops
is an article about this McLaren Speedtail inspired guitar, and Nick, you quite like the Speedtail. So as you can see here, this is a custom built headless guitar made of stuff and got some stuff on it. Allegedly painted the Saragon quartz paint. Cool.
Yep.
And
Finished
saying
silver, much like the car, located in the backplate. McLaren Speedtail prototype. Driven to 250 miles an hour. Pairs the Serion quartz with red upholstery. So it's just the color.
so it's the color. Well, here's the thing. There's a quote from Dean Gordon Guitars, starting with the Virtus model here. Here's what he says: McLaren, being synonymous with cutting-edge design and pushing boundaries, made it a no-brainer choice of inspiration for my automotive-inspired line of guitars. These guitars are my artistic exercise, where I not only try to make the best playing and sounding guitars possible, but to put an artistic flair in them beyond what I normally do. The Speedtail was the perfect muse. Okay. All right, that's cool, Dean.
I mean, that sounds nice, but there's nothing here outside of the color that says McLaren on it.
Well, also,
like in
the
design
issue
or
that
anything.
I have is that
the
picture they're using on this article, the head picture, is just the zoomed-in base picture of the headless option of the Virtus model on his website. It kind of seems like he already had this guitar made.
Yeah, so hey, Andrew, on the bottom below the article, they have like a gallery you can scroll right and left on. So picture 8 of 18 is like you're looking at the guitar from the side, and there's that little kind of bubble that pops up towards the right side of the image. I know this is great
God.
For an audio medium. That might look kind of like a Speedtail, don't you think?
Speedtail. No, it's a carve cut is what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just wanted to point this out because I think that he didn't make this to be designed after the Speedtail, and I don't think the Speedtail was a muse. I think this is a lie.
It's just the color.
Yeah, which maybe that has something to do. Maybe it's just a close color. Because like I said, the thing that really gets me is the cover picture on this article is clearly just a zoomed in version of the base picture of the headless option from his own website.
Yeah.
The same picture.
If you look at the, it's not just the color of the body of the guitar too. Like if, again, I'm on the gallery on the bottom of the article, the sides of the pickups. So the tops of the pickups are black, but the sides are the same color as the interior upholstery as well.
Whoa.
That deep, like cherry or almost wine red.
Ox blood.
It's a red.
Yeah. So it's in color, I'll give them that. But there's nothing about the design that is anywhere has any resemblance to a McLaren. Anywhere.
I'm sus of this, Dean. I'm sus.
Speedtail or otherwise, by the way. Like there's not like you can't even be like, oh, that looks like a Senna though. Like it doesn't.
Well, I mean, if you wanted to, I guess, experience the fruits of Dean's labor here, starts at $3,600. So this is way more because this is the full carb. This is a way more expensive option.
Damn.
It's probably, I don't know. What do you think? 6,000?
Yeah, probably.
What's your guess here, Nick? Order form. Hold on.
I would say it's got to be at least 5.
Virtus headless, $39.50 base. Oh, you can pick your wood. Oh my god, it's a lot. It's a lot of money. Yeah, it's many thousands. But if you're in the market for something you can say was inspired by McLaren, similar to that Lenovo that they say was designed by Aston Martin, though it clearly wasn't.
It's just a Lenovo. I'm sensing a trend with things that say they're designed after cars. They're just the normal thing with maybe a different color. Maybe.
Right. Well, I mean, we've known that for a while. Porsche watches.
But at least they design them. Like Porsche GmbH is a design house. I have here's my weird thing of the week. I have a Grundig shortwave radio that was designed by Porsche Design. It has nothing to do with the car. It was just their design group designed the casing of that radio. Grundig. You can get BBC World Service on it, so that's cool.
Porsche's probably a bad example. You're right. They do actually design some shit. Those Ferrari Pumas, remember those from back in the day?
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There must be other stuff. Well, I mean, One of the one of the things I'm waiting to show up on Reverb, I have an alert set for this, is one of those IMSA guitars from the brief
Oh,
period where PRS was a sponsor, an official sponsor of IMSA.
yeah, the IMSA PRSs. That was
I,
for
I have an alert
Lime
for it.
Rock Park, right? The Lime Rock Park races.
I
Were those the trophies?
think so.
Yeah, I think so. It was either Lime Rock or Watkins. It was someplace in the Northeast because that's
Yeah,
where PRS is based.
PRS trophy guitars. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, this would be a sick thing to add to the collection. Come on.
that'd be awesome to hang on my wall here in the office. You
That's
guys can
right.
see next to my
Exactly.
flags. Have the IMSA guitar. I've got the
That
IMSA
was
flag already.
that was something we briefly considered trying to find you for your wedding, Nick, was a Corvette guitar, but unfortunately they're $30,000 a piece.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. That's very touching. Thank you.
They were
I know
too
you're not going to
expensive.
spend that. Yeah, I know you're not going to spend that much, but even that thought was really cool. Thanks.
You know what's funny about that? I think pretty regularly about the cars that you guys would have given me, and it pleases me when I think about it.
Yeah, I
Oh,
That
think
was a
about that. Think
that's
about that
quite nice.
episode.
Yeah.
I was at a family get together, and on my wife's side, and one of the guys there had it was not the right color, so I didn't like take a picture and send it to you guys. But he had that model Mercedes that you were gonna get me, Andrew, and I was like, yeah, like I like thought of it in that context from here on out. So it was funny.
Yeah. That's just so weird.
These guys aren't so bad after all, you know.
Yeah, that was great. All right.
The one last thing I have, and Andrew, we were talking about this right before we went hot with the microphones. You guys want to invest in saline?
I was
I really don't.
changing. I was like reloading my page, and you're talking about that. What? Explain more.
So a few years ago now, Andrew and I went up to the
Pre-COVID.
pre-COVID went up to the SRO race at Road America, and there was this big hullabaloo about the Saline S1, which is like their new like in-house sports car. For those of you who don't know, like the Saline S7 was like the fastest production car in the world for a while. They do a lot of work with like Mustang. There's Saline Mustangs, and I think they've actually done like Saline Vipers. They're like an aftermarket shop, but they
So
build their.
they had a spec series for this sports car that Saline built. It was a mid-engine two-seater,
It's
like
an
500
awesome car.
horsepower, something like that. Very sporty looking, supposedly all original, completely designed, and the whole thing was that this series was built to announce the launch of this actual car for you to buy, right?
Yes, and they had like one of them on site, and you and I were taking a good look at it. It was an awesome car. It was really 6-speed manual, 0 to 60 in 3.5, 450 horsepower, top speed of 180. Really cool little two-door coupe. And nothing ever happened. And now we have 6 days left on the website Start Engine, where you can invest to bring the Saline S1 to market. It's looking at your minimum investment is $498.75, but it's only $1.25 per share. So that actually gets you a pretty good chunk of shares. They've already raised $753,000.
Well, okay. So the other thing that I remember about this, I think, as it was initially announced, it was supposed to be in order for you to buy this car about like $100,000, $90,000. It's supposed to be pretty cheap, right?
And compared to like the cars it would be competing against, on the lots, yes, it's relatively affordable if you're in that tax bracket.
Is this like a legitimate Kickstarter?
It's yeah,
Equity, common stock.
yeah. You can equity, common stock, like you can invest in companies. It's like a Robin Hood type thing, like these. But yeah, you can invest in Saline for $1.25 per share. So like the minimum was 450 shares, rough math. They're valued at $34.5 million. And we can get in on this for equity. So as like, I don't know if that's like part owner, small ownership stake in the company, but let's see here. What else does it give you? I know there's like some early bird discounts where you get like bonus shares, like 5% bonus shares if you buy by a certain time. Here you go. If you invest the minimum, you earn 10% bonus shares in this investment, and all eligible investments run the entire year. You can also invest $100,000 and get 20% bonus shares and a trip for 2 to Southern California, a Saline Mustang for the weekend, and a personal meeting with Steve Saline himself.
Wow.
Ooh.
Steve.
For $100,000. But I don't know. I'm actually thinking about it. Like, what happens? What if this thing like sells like hotcakes? And not only like would that be cool to see more of these on the road, but a little buffer in my bank account wouldn't hurt either.
I mean, it's an interesting concept. I'll say that. Now, bear in mind they have failed to do this once, at least, maybe twice.
Yep, which is why they're asking for more help. It looks like all the comments on the page where people are asking what's going on, someone who claims to be Steve Saline is saying that, like, COVID was debilitating for the company, and that really, for a small private company,
I bet that it really was. Like, imagine needing to run your spec race series during COVID.
Yeah, not going to go well.
When what you need to do is put it out in front of people who are actually there to go look at your car. What does an S1 spec series get you on TV? Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. There's no name, there's no draw. Yeah. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. Us or any other listeners or car enthusiasts could invest in the launch of a pretty nifty sports car if they actually get it to market.
And it does work. It actually, this is a car.
So you've seen it race around a track. So.
Correct. It works. It's fast. It works in mass numbers. They ran a whole race.
Actually, vaporware.
Right. Yeah. No. This thing exists.
Yes, we've seen it. We've opened its doors.
Yes.
They wouldn't let us drive it, but we have seen it. That's all I had.
Well, that's cool. A good update, I guess. Good to see that, some things are still alive. Oh, and manual transmission for anyone who wants to pretend to care about that.
Save the manual. Sweet. What do you think, guys? Pretty good comeback episode here. You want to get out of here?
Yeah, I think we can call it.
So we already mentioned where to get a hold of us on social, kind of in passing, but Check Engine Podcast on Facebook. If you're still on X, it's at Check Engine Pod. Same with Threads and Insta. And on Mastodon, say it with me, guys. We're going to say it together, right?
All right.
At Check Engine Podcast. At Mastodon. Social.
Yep.
That's going to sound awesome.
Yep. So be sure to like, follow, share, post, DM, reach out how and when you can. You can ask us questions to answer on this little show. Let us know what you like or dislike. Give us topic ideas. Tell us about the cool local gas stations and truck stops in your area. Help us nominate compact sedans from the looks and design department to go up against the new Elantra N-Line.
Actually, sorry, it's actually going to be the previous generation, probably by the time we make the episode, because the new one.
Oh, it's about to. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll figure that one out.
You get the idea. Thanks in advance. Also, remember cepswagshop.com. We're still working to get that back up and running. Our web host was having some issues. As soon as we get that up and running, you will hear from us. Be sure to leave us a review on whatever platform you're listening on. preferably a good one, and or you can hit that subscribe button. It is free, and you'll get notified of any new content that we put out for you, whether it be with an awesome interview like Kyle Downs or any of these episodes where we're just kind of shooting the shit for a while. You'll know about it. If you're really into what we're doing and would like to support this podcast monetarily, we are a way better option than investing in Celine. So you have a couple options for that. You can go to patreon.com/checkenginepodcast, or you can hit the support button on our page at Spotify for Podcasters. Every cent pledged is put toward making this podcast a better experience for you, the listener. We are not promising any dinners with us for $100,000, although we would greatly appreciate it.
If you want to give us $100,000,
I mean, if you give us $100,000, I will absolutely take you to McDonald's.
I'll cook.
Or Buc-ee's.
Okay. That's better. I'll take you to Buc-ee's for some brisket. That's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Buc-ee's.
That's a $100,000 brisket.
We'll meet.
You really gotta go to Buc-ee's.
We'll meet at the brand new Dane DeForest Buc-ee's once it opens, and we'll get some brisket.
You can go to Runza.
Go to Runza.
Soft serve.
So thank you in advance if you do choose to go that route. Who or what are we shouting out or thanking before we get out of here?
I'll just thank, because this is also new since we last met. My daughter turned 2.
Yay!
Yeah, happy birthday!
It's just crazy, man. Because now obviously you've now hit the point where every app on your phone gives you the timeline thing. So they put now, especially like the Apple Photos, puts the shit together like automatically, like daily, like this was a year ago and this was 2 years ago, and it's like, oh man,
the memories feature doing its job.
Yeah, the memories feature. Yeah. Man, that's crazy. She's just the best. So thanks to her just for being alive.
Thanks to you and Meg for keeping her alive.
Yeah.
Adorable little girl. Happy birthday, Bridget. Tristan, what about you?
I've got a double thank you, if that's okay with everybody.
No, it's not okay. Shut up. Anyway.
All right, next. Previous to this episode, that's why this episode is kind of bracketing two things. So previous to this episode, just a few days ago, was my wife's and my anniversary. So happy anniversary, and thank you for supporting this weird thing I retreat to my office to do every couple weeks. And then coming up directly after this episode releases, so hopefully by saying this I don't doom anything, but I will be signing on a house, closing on a house.
Yeah.
So I'd like to thank our realtor, Lindsay. Awesome experience. She stuck with us looking for houses all over a quarter of the state, here, there, and everywhere. Drive 45 minutes for us to look at a house for 10 minutes and go, ugh, no thanks. So I know that that's the job description. I know that's why they're here, but, thank you for helping us through the process.
Wow. Oh, it's just the craziest thing. It's when you actually sign the house, sign your final papers, you go to some fucking random office in a strip mall that you never knew existed. You get shoveled in this windowless room, and
it'll be the Southwest. It's not Southwest. That's the airline. Shore West, the Shore West office off of Grandview. I know right where that is. Weirdly enough.
And if the seller's actually there, you can't see them. Like they have to go to a separate room, or they might have pre-signed, or
that's funny.
It's just so weird. And then it's over, and then you go. They give you the key. Then you go to your house. You just go and you stand in it, and there's nothing in it, and it smells like the person who lived there before you. And you're like, oh my God, there's so much work to do.
Andrew's engaged in my favorite thing that's been happening to me since I've told people that I'm buying a house, which is the honored tradition of, hey, congratulations, buying a house is great, you're going to love it, it's the worst thing you'll ever do.
No, it's the best thing you'll ever do. It might be, aside from having a child, it's the only thing I've ever done in my life that has any meaning. Purchasing property.
Yeah,
getting married?
Yeah.
Eh,
That happens. Okay.
Uh,
Fine.
can,
Having the kid, getting married, owning property.
there you go.
Top
There you
three
go.
life experiences. It's totally awesome.
yeah,
But
it is
the
cool.
actual like mechanism of it is very weird and uncomfortable.
I have heard this. My parents weren't even present for theirs. So, anyway, enough talking about house closing. Nick, who are you going to thank?
I'm going to shout out a guy by the name of Bob Ropke. His son Charlie was on our podcast on the karting roundtable last year. Bob was the commissioner, we'll call it, the guy who ran the Tag Masters Championship Series with a little help for, well, as long as I've been racing in it, at least. And long before that, he's been racing karts for a really long time. He raced with us as well as ran the series, and that's a really thankless job because, like, we say that, like, we're in it and it's camaraderie and this and that. We're here for a good time. People get intense and people get competitive, and Bob had to make calls that pissed off people quite a lot.
Sure.
And
Judge, jury, and executioner in that
he
role.
was, and he is, just because Charlie is getting so busy with his racing. He is stepping down after this year as commissioner. And I remember when a few years ago, before I started racing, they had like, they were happy if like 8 guys showed up. And now, a few short years later, Bob's built it up to one of the largest Masters series in the entire country. Like, people in other states and other regions know about us. There's between 23 and 28 carts showing up every single weekend. And that's just due to Bob. So, and the work he's done. So thanks, Bob, for giving us a really awesome platform to go race. I'm wearing the Tag Masters hat tonight in honor of that. And it was another good year this year, regardless of where I finished in points. Can't wait to do it again next year, but it won't be the same without you, dude. So best of luck, and thank you for everything. And as always, thank you listeners for your continued support. We love hearing from you. We love recording this for you, and we cannot wait to speak to you again. Until we do, take care.